up for now. He'll join us at 4:30. From Ron Tamlin, I was going to bring this up. Smokey, Paul, and Craig, there's a part of me that wonders if the consistent success of Baylor sports in the major ones over the past decade is leading to some other coaching changes. Starting with Mack Brown, Baylor football now has run off 3 UT coaches. How many at Tech? How many at TCU? Likewise, Scott Drew's success and how it's affected not just UT hoops, but others as well. Think about this. I think it's fair to say Art Briles got Mack Brown eventually fired. Not just Briles, but Briles and Baylor and the resurgence and beating him straight up. His last game was the loss to Baylor. All right? Someone brought up the fact it might even be with Tommy Tuberville. Matt Rule most likely led to Tom Herman's downfall, along with the fact that maybe he led to his own downfall. But also Matt Wells is since Dave Aranda was hired. And they're close friends. And now you see Gary Patterson. Now, whether or not Baylor coaches led to some of those, it's interesting that Texas has had these coaches since Baylor's been through some wreckage at times, and they continue to get the right one.
I don't think it helps Texas, but I think Texas is probably, I'm going to talk about them for a second. They have a 3-horned problem, which is, one is the other schools around them. Oklahoma's been nothing but good the entire time that Texas has been bad, save for a year or so. That A&M is making more money in the Southeast Conference, and Texas can't lord over them anymore. And then they lose to schools like Baylor and TCU regularly, and those schools have been more consistent over the time. I know TCU just fired Gary Patterson than Texas has. I don't think Baylor got Mack Brown fired. I think Baylor was maybe a big part of that. I think the biggest thing got Mack Brown fired is Robert Griffin, Andrew Luck, and Johnny Manziel.
Or Garrett Gilbert not being one of those, which he was expected to be.
Yeah, see what they're going for there. I don't really agree, though. They didn't get Mack Brown fired. They just finished him off. He was already limping and had arrows stuck in him and bullet holes and all that by the time he limped into Waco, and he had like a saving grace to win that game, and they just beat him. So that basically ended that. But he was already, crawling to the finish line, basically. Matt Wells has nothing to do with Baylor, and neither did the other ones, really, in my opinion. I mean, Baylor's had some nice wins over some schools that have made changes, but I think more than like any win that they had that forced anything, I think it's just the overall sustained success that has, been able to lead to other places maybe going like, well, hey, we're not up to that level, or why are they able to do this and we're not? I don't know. I don't really see Baylor having a direct effect other than just being pretty regular competition in the Big 12. At the same time, though, to your point,
go ahead.
At the same time, to your point, it is amazing that they've been able to be consistent. I see a lot of TCU fans who are, ready for the next guy and ready for – Joey McGuire. Let's get Joey McGuire here. See a lot of media guys who are pumping up Joey McGuire for the TCU or the SMU job and all of that, but who knows how that works out. I mean, we've seen Texas go through coach after coach after coach and finally feel like they've got, the right guy in Steve Sarkisian. So if anything, I've just been impressed more so than what Baylor's affected in any way. I've been impressed that they've been able to make good hires and continue to remain in the mix, because after 2016 and after Jim Grobe's interim year, had they made the wrong hire there and it was Chad Morris rather than Matt Rule or something, then who knows where this program is right now. They might be coming off like 5 straight losing seasons. They might be the old Baylor.
No, if you wouldn't have gotten the Matt Rule hire correctly.
Right.
You could be set back a decade.
And if you didn't get the Dave Aranda hire correct, because last year, 2-7, so if they would have come back this year and been similar to that, I think you'd have really big concerns of like, oh, shoot, man, it's not a COVID year this time. Like, this is a regular year, and we're still not. Like, that would have been frightening if you were Mack Rhodes. Instead, he's 7-1. He just beat Texas in a great come-from-behind win, and they should, on paper, at worst go 2-2. But probably go 3-1 in this last month of the season, which will put them hovering around 10 wins, which would be incredible for Aranda in year number 2, and especially given how hard last year was. So I just think they've been smart and good about making the right hires and haven't suffered from the disease that some schools like Texas have of missing out on guys and it prolonging the downward trend of the program.
The game of Saturday, real quickly, because